too well. So let's see what we got over here. Yeah. Sure we're all good. Shout out to everyone. I don't know if we have anyone listening or anything, but I do like it so that you know, we can freaking chill and just like, you know, people that don't necessarily get online with us, like, you know, if we pass the link off and want to come and hang over here, that's really what I'd like to do. I don't want to really argue and deal with the rest of the, you know, whatever. So for our people that are out there, they can come and listen and hang with us, and, you know, we get the link to them. But yeah, can you hear me, brother? Check 1 2.
Check 1 2. Yep, loud and clear.
Lovely. Yeah, man. So that's cool. You were saying you had a chance to talk. What do you call it, to some cats earlier?
Yeah. I have 4 kids, 3 of which are in high school. Senior, junior, sophomore. And I've been a weirdo their entire lives, you know, outside the mainstream, etc. None of the kids are vaccinated or circumcised. You know, we did a huge stint of homeschooling before they went to high school. So things like flat earth aren't a total shock to them because they've never grown up, quote unquote, normally, or whatever that's called. And there are different ways to approach different subjects, but with this latest school shooting and it being a weekend, the 3 big ones had some friends over, and I got to, we say flat smack for talking cosmology with people. I don't know what this would be.
This would be a Henry smack.
Yeah,
Oh no,
we
yeah,
got
that's
to
right. We're
hit.
talking other things. Yeah, actually, yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
So I got to Henry smack some teenagers that know I'm an alternative thinker, but hadn't been presented with, some rebuttals to the mainstream force feeding of all this nonsense. And that when they speak amongst each other, to be different from the group is instantly met with ridicule. But to have a quote unquote cool dad, talk to you about how and why and who and what to look for, in incidences like school shootings. They clearly had never had that done before, and they're way less argumentative since I'm not their peer, and way less defensive since I'm not, their teacher or their parent. And it was fun watching their faces light up with the insights they were gaining, because they're in high school. They know they do these stupid ass shooter drills at their school, never with live ammo or, stage blood, but, they get it. As far as the state intervening and making sure you're constantly scared and on your tiptoes at school. But to have the other side explained, it was clear they had never had that done before. And, my oldest daughter was born in 1999, but everybody else is definitely younger than 9/11. So, they don't even have a clear memory of September 11th. So their hoax world is small, but there, and if approached correctly, planting seeds in half a dozen teenagers that I'm not raising will do worlds of good for this realm by proxy. So
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Is it's like I always look at it. I always add, and I'm sure, like I've heard you speak to people before. You always add like a caveat of, could or couldn't. You know what I mean? Like, hey, it appears like it might be this. Like, it's versus like some definitive, kind of line. Like, I mean, when you're expressing a line of thought, it's kind of like, you keep it to the point and you say this, that, and the other thing. But there needs to be that, the constant remembrance of an inquiry. Like a constant, like you're constantly looking at what's, what is what holds water, really.
Yeah, and what's not being said. One of the points that clicked with all of these, young adults, I go, how many cameras do you have in your school? And like that, 6 per hallway. I mean, you want 6 per hallway. Like they didn't even have to look it up, look at each other, check their phone. They're kids. They know how surveillance works. It's kind of part of my job is installing surveillance systems. I've got cameras on my house. They're aware of these things. And I go, have you seen any surveillance footage of this massacre? They're like, no, that's a good point. They would have that on video, huh?
Yeah, see, it's like I haven't really even looked into. I know that, like, there's, and I'm gonna, keep it whatever. Is like there's a lot of people that speculate how, like, this could have been. Something that didn't necessarily happen and could have been a drill for more of a political agenda. And that's what I think really has got like people perked up about that discussion, is the idea that, we don't know, the facts because we don't, we weren't there, all that shit. But like, also that idea that there's a potential, as they've tried to, what they call it, like false flags or something, so they make it so that it's there's such a confusion after the events have happened that somebody with a political agenda can come in and implement what's called the Hegelian dialectic, which would then allow for there to be two sides to an equation. This is why the biggest thing for anyone who's awake, the biggest thing that anyone would want to deter is division. So it's like anyone who's trying to attempt to create the division amongst the ranks of the people is causing and sowing discord. And there can't be like, that's just not something that is, it can never, help liberty. You know what I mean? Like, granted, like there needs, like the cacophony of freedom of speech is one thing, but like, we need to be able to consider these ideas that, hey, maybe somebody's using this as a political agenda.
Yeah, or another way I like the actor terms. This is being staged. These are crisis actors. You know, an act of terrorism. If you, it's I myself am an auto hoaxer, but when I bring this up with other people, I like to put it in terms of marketing or advertising. Uh, the one mom in this instance screaming about metal detectors and security guards and bulletproof backpacks. You know, we went through airport security, you know, the rapist scan systems that Michael Chertoff benefited from. These are, for lack of a better word, live action commercials. You know, these kids have all seen one of these drills in their own school. You turn it live. And there's also what in my presentation to them, showed them an ABC, I think it was 2020 or Nightline, something like that, where they go over one of these drills in another school that did use fully reticulating dummies, stage blood, cap guns, masked assailants, etc., for a live role play, everything but the bullets coming out of the gun drill, to show them how they could turn one of these into a quote unquote live event right then. And this Nightline was, they highlighted a point that a lot of these kids who weren't paying attention, came to school late, or, you know, slow, whatever, didn't make the correlation of the drill to the screaming, the stage blood, and the cap guns, actually calling their parents saying somebody's in the school shooting. So even when there's news crews and everybody, like not all 1,200 kids were listening when they said drill, and 5 of them called their parents and said there's shooters in the school. So even when they're explicit about this isn't real, people think it's real. So if they just leave, we're holding a drill out, you know, that 5 people becomes 100, and those 100 tell another 100. Now you have 10,000 people that think it's real instantly. So this snowballs. Go ahead.
Well, no, it's just that reminds me of that saying with the, you know, a lie gets halfway around the world before the truth has got its pants on.
Yeah, I mean, I knew Bon Jovi got his stomach pumped way before the internet was at that. How the hell do I know what Bon Jovi's doing in the hospital or what Richard Gere puts in his rectum? I mean, you know, you could, mimetic infiltration has existed long before the internet.
Yeah, it is fascinating. It's like, it's such a, you know, it's just like, it's the world we live in, and people don't know that. It's like, I was talking with the cat earlier, like about hyper normalization, like the idea. I've noticed this too. It's like, this is why people can't debate or can't discuss alternative anything with people, is because of what I can, you know, it's hyper normalization. Everything on your telephone, everything on your computer, everything on your, you know, whatever, it's confirming your convictions because they're trying to sell you shit. So they're putting all of the information that you're discussing and agreeing with and looking up with, and they are, you know, they're trying to get you to, like, you know, think that you live in you're correct. So anyone who comes against your line of thinking, you think to that person, oh, you're out of the loop. You're not mainstream like I am. You're not, you know, you're not whatever, like, you know, the bee's knees like I am, because I've got all my you know, everything's confirmed for you through your technological devices and data manipulation. And it's like, you know, people are in a stupor if they don't recognize it. You know, you're at the whim of your, you know, of this hyper normalized world. You know, it's crazy to think, actually. I mean, yeah, and then to think, like, even like, yo, like, how fucking are we hyper normalized by being, like, you know, auto hoaxing? You know, you're looking, you know, it's like, are we not all being, like, taken down these rabbit holes potentially? And if we don't consider that we're not, that's naive.
No, for sure. It's a fracturing of the mind, maximum irritation. And I put it like this to a lot of people. MK Ultra, everybody's aware of mind control in the MK, Manchurian candidates, you know, all these bizarre psychological experiments conducted. That is just the literal tip of the thing, the ultra part. They blast this at everyone. The individual Manchurian, the Clockwork Orange type shit, that's them refining their technique that they want to try at everybody. And absolutely, the dichotomy is divide and conquer, Hegelian dialectic. They tried to, as the left-right paradigm was falling apart, they tried to institute the Occupy versus Tea Party, the globe versus disc. They will interject both sides of a quote-unquote debate to have you pick a side and fight it, because if you're constantly fighting, you're very seldom searching, which is how I turned into Go Find the Others guy. You know, I'll answer any question. Somebody wants to hear my thoughts on whatever, I'll tell them. But this constant fight they've got us in is the ultra part of MK Ultra that they've been working on so diligently this whole time.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's Go on, brother.
Yeah, I haven't ruled out the fact that one day they will open fire in a school. Unfortunately, well, Dan Pratt made a...
The thing is, it's unfortunate, is I mean, like, these things all have the capacity to be real, and, like, you know, and that's the point where, like, that's why I'm always hesitant to necessarily, like, label everything as a you know, confirmed fact, because that's what they do. And it's like, it's one of those things where we need to know that that's really the position of you know, any point of wisdom, is to the idea of let them decide it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's the idea, like, these are the two ideas. You know, like Aristotle said, you know, the mark of intelligence is the ability to entertain two ideas with accepting neither. And you know, but you're right though. It's like, if we don't consider this as a possibility, because, like, my thing is that, like, I noticed that a lot of people who talk about this stuff, we completely dismiss the potential that it could have been real, and that it could have been, and that is, like, you know, to go against that emotional response, you know, of a society is almost insane. To try to take that on, you know what I mean? To try to say, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can understand, I can understand the Overton window, and there are, you know, and there's people out there for that. But, like, you know, I've always looked at it, like, from a very diplomatic, philosophical, you know what I mean? Like, we have to almost rein it in to a certain extent, you know, because, I mean, there's a place to rein it in and there's a place not to rein it in. But I always try to maintain that semblance of reining it in, so as not to, like, you know, entice someone who might not think it further. Because, you know what, I think a lot of people are looking for someone to give their convictions merit. Do you know what I mean, brother? Like, some people are like, you know, just need one more reason to hate, you know? And, like, that's what I'd like to try to deprive the world of, is the hate. Because it's like,
yeah,
you know, and so many people will take this information, like we're talking about now, and think of it in one way. Like, if they're, like, let's say if somebody thinks that it's automatically a hoax, it's like there's somebody out there that is going to be vitriolic and angry and, you know, and do something adolescent and retarded about it. And that's the thing that's scary, because those types of people then are activated to do the things that the state is almost saying don't exist. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like this weird conundrum, and then they politicize it all and they take advantage of it all and run with it in a narrative that knucklehead didn't see coming.
Yeah, you can join us or fight us. Either way, we got you. They don't want us communing and building anew, you know, and giving less and less energy to whether it's real or not. You know, shit, I forget who made the point about, I think I saw it in a Discord server today. Copaesthetic. He was like, why don't we, you know, I think his term was make a flat earth school instead of trying to convert public schools into teaching a different, or the possibility of a non-globe cosmology. At some point, we are going to have to do less fighting against and more building anew, whatever the subject is.
Yeah, I mean, well, first off, it's like, I think the first thing is really teaching people how to think. You know, I've been in certain circles where it's like, you know, you think you're in the cream of the crop of the thinkers, and then, like, I was dropping, like, those riddles, and nobody was getting, like, the simple lateral thinking necessary to think, like, you know, like that, you know, just, it's just odd that, like, you know, anything has the potential, anything, even two people has the potential to become a cult if you will. Like, you know what I mean? Because now all of a sudden you're just confirming each other's convictions, and then like, you know, that's that old you know, now you're in an echo chamber thing. But like, you know, there's some merit to that, but like, of course we've seen that argument abused, but you know, you know, you can't, and that's why I think, I know like yourself, it's like you've always sought out where the work should be done, not necessarily preach to the choir. That's why I sometimes think, like, you know, I'm happy to open up this channel and take it away from the audience of, you know, of the normal people that would be looking into this subject matter, and almost like I'd rather talk to the people that I met here on, like, I don't know if I told you, but I started this channel because of a channel, they did this contest. It was and me and Shill, I think, were paying attention to it, and like we went on there, and then like I actually ended up on the show and performed and got a lot of love, and I got like 200 subs in like 3 days. It was amazing, and all these beautiful people that are over here, like they're so positive and cool, and I'd kind of like to almost interject myself into that world of people that are just everyday people, not this vitriolic, you know, internet troll, fucking millennial dipshit world over there, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, nothing against millennials either.
Right. I recently, that's, you know, Synchro Mystic, I've done a couple live streams and been hanging out in another Discord server that, you know, there's no petition sign, and I'm not trying to speak for everybody, but their take on cosmology is, like you're saying, it can't be proven either way. Why are we going to tear each other apart over it? We could just discuss the matrix as a whole, the deception as a whole. So they're not round versus flat. They're, you know, Donald Rumsfeld's known unknowns. They're fully aware of what they don't know on both sides of the debate. But let's talk about the fact that there's no security camera footage in this Florida school of this alleged massacre. You know, we can talk about that, and they all agree that that's conspicuous, that, you know, the school full of security cameras doesn't have one frame of this thing going down. But yeah, it was a relief to spend the past couple of days with a lot of people, like you're saying, who are woke, unquote, but less in it for the troll smashing and or doxing or whatever.
Yeah, it's really weird how you know, it's like, I love that line from, I think you put it up on Instagram or something, and it was you know, slander is the resort of those who have lost the debate.
Yeah, good old Socrates.
I love him. Yeah, and yeah, old Hemlock Henry. What do you call it? Yeah, like it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just, that's it, man. Like, certain people, like, they don't want to continue the conversation, so it gets, like, you know, it gets all vitriolic and fucking retarded, you know. But yeah, if anything, I'm just happy to have like you know, this spot here to come and just like, you know, for us to be able to come and listen if we're not going to join, you know, the hangout or something, and just be able to chill, because like I feel like I just like to hear good conversation sometimes, and usually I was kind of just using this channel really to play music and keep it along those lines. I don't want to get too, like, I don't want to get political necessarily, but I'd also want freedom of speech, and I want liberty, and I want the ability for artists and musicians to be free. And I would hope, like, even to my thing is, like, even the sentiment to the people who may not be familiar with the information we're talking about is like the idea that, hey, whether or not you know this information or whether you agree with us or disagree with us, we are being attacked for you know, and for exercising our right to freedom of speech. And this is the thing where I think this is a real a rallying point intellectually, and, you know, for everyone, is the idea that, hey, if, like, I've always said to anyone that would do that, I was like, oh, well, you must not be an American then, because, you know, Americans, we're all about freedom of speech. I don't know why you'd attack somebody for them thinking or saying something. And that's where the real crux of the matter is, because regardless what the issue is, you know, a free society needs the ability to discuss and just, you know, and talk about the ideas. And that's what we're facing right now, is like this attack on the freedom of speech. It's always been attacked. You know, it's always been like demonized by some, you know, some idea has always been demonized by whatever. And it's like, when will we learn to like stand up and defend the, you know, maybe the opposition? I think I have a meme in here about, you know, how to defend the opposition. You have to defend the opposition, because if you don't, then it's going to come to taunt you. That's why I always stuck with like a point of neutrality over in debates, where it was like, you know, you have to have the neutrality. Like, at the end of the day, hey, we're still brothers. You know what I mean? There's no reason for us to fight over a fucking idea. It's like, you know, are you hungry? Let's get some food. Relax. You know, you know that shit. It's like, you know.
Yeah, bro Sanchez makes that point over and over, that whether you think the world's a globe or not, chemtrails are going on above everybody's head.
Yeah. Well, it's like chemtrails is another one. It's like, you know, they geoengineer. You know, they geoengineer. That's another thing too. And like, I hear people say like about, and I actually was listening to, somebody did a show earlier, and it was a total, you know, and like an anti-alternative cosmology show, and it was they were laughing about how people don't think that gravity exists. And I've said this for a while. It's like, you know, people need to stop saying that gravity doesn't exist, or that it's just a theory, or that it's this. It's like, no, it means weight. That's what that's what it means. Can we just leave that? Like, you know, like everything seems to be like the mimetics of making us look retarded. It doesn't mean that it's wrong, but it's like, it's also got this essence of it's too finalized to be intellectually sound, for me anyway. And that's where it's like, you know, we have to have the ability to still have dinner with somebody. Like, and, you know, like, that's why I think it takes away the heat of when, like, instead of saying that there's no such thing as gravity, just, well, it means weight, so there is gravity, but that's all it is, in my opinion. You know, gravitation is another discussion, but whatever.
And or turning the information uncovered into something useful, like the free energy realm. There are so many fantastic breakthroughs and discoveries of over Unity devices already in existence. There's a 5-part series on airplanes, or the common passenger jet turbine engine being ran off of compressed air and not. So if we get our minds into that, you know, the curvature the plane flies over or not is way less important, than we may be able to do this at a fraction of the cost that they've been saying has been possible.
Yeah, but I think, again, like, I have my own, you know, my interpretations of money and stuff, and it's like, I think the whole thing's like a bit of a charade, and it's a necessary charade, in my opinion. You know, it's like, it's necessary. That's why, like why haven't interest rates gone up? It's like, come on. You know, it's like, it's not fucking, like, you know, and that's why I've said too before, what if the national debt is actually owed to every individual who's alive? But you think you're the citizen, and you think you're the, you know, collateral on the debt. You don't know that you're the creditor. And it's minerally, it's, what's the term? Forgive me. You know, it's merely, you know, just a matter of concept of thinking. You know, and as soon as you make that shift, it's like I was talking to a guy today about the idea of conditional acceptance and that kind of stuff, and like the you know, of just how, you know, like we've talked about before, it's like, you know, here, eat this piece of shit. Well, it's like, you know, if you're a brother from the block, or you're a tough guy, you're going to say, I'm not fucking eating that. I'm going to put that and, you know, smash it all up in your face. Try to get me to do that. When in reality, it should be like, sure, I'd love to eat that shit, so long as you eat half of it first, and you give me a fucking, like, $10 million. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, sure, just eat half of it first, and give me, like, 10 grand.
Offer, counter offer.
Right. And
no,
like,
and we came from the same line of thinking on that. I've never put it in those terms, but for example, when DFS or CPS, the Child Protective Services, or Department of Family Services, depending on what they're called in your area, when my 3 high schoolers were, you know, I think 2 would have even been old enough for kindergarten or preschool. A friend of the family got wind that we were going to homeschool and that the oldest two were not in kindergarten and daycare or preschool, pardon me, flipped out and called DFS on us. Wow. And me being outside the box. Listen, I've got a daughter born in '99 that's not vaccinated. There were 0 YouTube videos about vaccines, and that's definitely a lonely battle to fight way back then. But 3 years later, 4 years later, 5 years later, in the early 2000s, I told this DFS lady, she called 14 times, and I'm like, you're not coming in my house to do an in-home inspection. She kept saying we're required by law to investigate every report, even if it's false or not. And I said, you're correct. You're required to investigate reports of abuse. You need to show me where homeschooling is abuse, because that was the only thing reported, correct? And after the 14th phone call, I didn't phrase it like you did. I said, okay, we will have your visit, but I'm telling you, I'm going to have 2 video cameras running and 2 lawyers here from before you get in my driveway till after you leave. And she goes, well, we're just going to put down here that you guys homeschool. That's not illegal or listed as abuse, and have a nice day. Yep. So once I put my conditions down to meet her my terms down to meet her conditions or whatever, how you phrase it, she backed right the fuck off.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, exactly. And that's where I think, like, the less confrontational we make that, the better it'll be for everyone. And that's what I'm trying. Yep. That's what I've been trying to teach over the other way, is the idea that, like, hey, like, take the wind out of the sails of the people that are trying to, like, because what they want and what they're counting on is the base reaction to fight back. It's like, they want nothing more, and then you fight back, and they'll fucking have a news team there, and it will be run through the ringer by 6 o'clock news. You know what I mean? It's like they will just, you can't fucking win. So it's like you can't fight. Like, it's like, why would I, I was talking to a friend of mine before, like, kind of in a boxing sense, like the idea of, like, sometimes you're supposed to slip a punch. You know what I mean? Like, you're not supposed to throw punches all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a time for slipping punches and footwork and that kind of stuff, and and then there's a time for striking, and it's like,
watch Holly Holm. Holly Holm is by definition that.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you, forgive me. I want to just take 1 second, use the loo real quick, and I'm gonna play a little music and be right back. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'm gonna run that. Yeah, shout out to everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Where you don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, it's part of the show. Didn't they teach you to reach for the stars while opening up the bars and keeping you chained down with mortgage bills and cars? Vaccines for your arms, kids sounding like supercharged, caffeinated hate-filled scars and rage-quit repertoires. No answers for yards, caught up in emotion that's not even yours. Imposter truths like impeccable retards, lined up for your serving of gish galloping wars. No remedy can't save the lost, in love with the yarn. I'm tired of walking into refracted shards, poor science displayed by disgusting bards. Soaked in sin with your dupe is delight in a new hand of cards. Been so long, seems like for love I'm just too hard, that's it. Welcome to the show, where you don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show, if you don't know. Intoxicated 8 makes you believe you're spinning in space while you have no shame or grace. It's a disdainful state I used to contemplate, how to save myself from my own self-hate. Wonder why I was even made with a dreadful fate, forced to try and awake with a full plate. No one to help me stay awake or educate. I've had to liberate and fight through hidden gates, but my brother, heaven could never be late, and rockets don't work in space. It's all fake, the show is on Mars, it's a joke, but you're too far gone, it won't be long. Fepe's beak is strong. We have our song and we march along like streams of knowledge leading to God's holy pond, and lives of truth that eats the bong and sings the song, turns mankind from the wrong. We come in peace with a holy gown and all of us wearing our holy crowns. Said the earth is flat and we probably just won't get along. Just to go along, I said, welcome to the show, where you don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, you don't know. I can hear you.
Within this Shiva dance, it's called Nataraj.
Cool. What's good, brother?
Is everywhere in the universe. This is done. The manifestation of the word is
Oops.
called his Leela, his play. He sends his rain upon the just and the unjust.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Am I back on?
Yeah, you're good. Cool. I got I guess like my connection with the Discord, or forgive me now, my connection for the USB for my mic is like in and out, I guess. And it's like having a little issue with the port. So,
Yep, I got a text saying the same thing. I was going to let you know when you came back, but apparently you got the same one.
Oh, what do you? Oh, wait.
Oh, just that your audio could use some help on the YouTube side.
Oh, okay. Yeah, huh. I wonder, what, is it not loud enough, or are we not pumping through enough on the Discord or something?
Volume low.
Okay.
On your side.
Was it music and stuff too, or no?
I didn't ask about the music, but just speaking.
Got it. All right, cool. I had my mic pretty low though. But yeah, where were we, my brother?
Conditional acceptances.
Oh yeah. We got nice. We got everyone out there. Yeah, I think like that's really the move. And we were talking about like boxing and shit, like that idea of, there's a time to move and there's a time to strike, and like for some reason like everyone is kind of primed. Like, it's like, I look at it like we were talking about climate change, and social climate change really is what it's all about, and it's heating up, and like and then they come along and then they can prod you, and as soon as they prod you, you turn around and fight, and they've got a whole answer for that. Like, they've got a whole, what's called the continuum of the use of force, the continuum of force doctrine, which is like step 1, verbal command, step 2, you know what I mean? Like, they have all this stepping, and if you violate those steps, or they feel offended in that sense, they have the right to take jurisdiction under the, depending what the circumstances are, regardless of your, you know what I mean? Because they have there's like a military rule, but the republic has this is why the courts are so interesting, because like in the heat of the frenzy of like a military whatever, everyone gets laid down, but then you have the opportunity to hear each and every individual case. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, they're not going to take the threat of like, some whatever, so everyone's going to be lumped into one group. But this is why, if there's and this is why if it gets to like where people act out and start to like, and to be in some way have a violent response as a nation or as an individual, they've got, you know, then it's like everything goes. So if you chill and then you get your moment and your opportunity to make an offer, like that's the beauty of the court system in the sense that everyone does have a chance to state their claim. It's not like they just grab everyone up, throw you in a fucking thing, and you never see anyone else. But we don't know what to do with the opportunity before the court. And they've got us so mystified as to what we have even the potential to do, that we fall right into every trap that they've got because we're stuck fighting. It's this like catch-22 from a fucking, you know, from a nightmare, from hell. You know what I mean? Like it's horrible.
No, like that line in your song, no victories, only lamentations.
Right. Yeah, well there's that, yeah. It's like
once you've gone to war, you've already lost.
Right. You know, what is there to celebrate? You know, it's like you can't go to war with it. It's like people have this idea that it's like you're going to go, you know, it's like me and the buddies are going to go take on the whatever. Well, plan on losing half your buddies.
At least.
Like, did you think about that part of the fucking equation? You know, and that's where it's like, you know, and then it's like, well, no, I didn't really think about it. It's like, well, did you know what I mean? Well, then who the fuck are you? You know, what are you, just because you read Che Guevara's fucking book about being on a motorcycle? What? Stop. Right? You know what I mean? Like,
is that a new one? I've never heard you say that.
Yeah. That's like, yeah.
Cool.
Dude, I was a fucking Che fan. I love Che. I mean, I studied all that shit, dude. It's like, that's when I realized. No. That's what, I mean, yeah, all that rabbit hole. Yeah, but yeah, it's a good, yeah.
The five-sided fistigon. I get it.
Yeah. But that's a weird one. You know, that's an odd little tale of history. I always thought it interesting that Fidel was a barrister.
Yes, and I've always found that fascinating. Have you heard the Las Vegas Cuba connection?
What, recently or?
Well, just in, you know, kind of our generation and one, maybe two before, and the capital of gambling, the whole Cuba thing is really about whether Las Vegas was going to be where it's at now or in Havana.
Oh, right, and that's right, because it was what do you call it? And that's right, because they got rid of Batista, who was who was doing the whole fucking like that bourgeois, what they called the bourgeois, you know, all that life, all that stuff, the era, the Cubano music, all that beautiful shit. And again, it makes me wonder. Yeah. It's like it makes you wonder, like, hey, like I wonder what that was. Like, I mean, I know that there was, you know, the people in the hills, like, you know, they weren't living the better side of that. And
right.
And that yet also there is that whatever, but then it's also like this is where and why they hate capitalism, because capitalism is that, like, they see it as that, which is sad. Well, and they don't see the individual aspirations of it, and yet monopolization crushes those dreams anyway. So it's like, you know, you wind up in a fascist state where the corporations control the masses.
Yeah, and they also know, since they do feed off of energy and an analogy to a vampire kind of way, that Cuba, pre all of this bullshit, was a fucking paradise. Las Vegas is in a desert, and they need a specific kind of energy for what they do. And the beauty and love that the sheer environment of that island would create was not conducive to the scams they wanted to run. So they put it in a desert where it's barren and fruitless instead.
That's interesting. Yeah, that makes you know, it's crazy. Like, what's that? Forget the guy who did the experiment, but it was like the rats and the cities, and he like built all these things for the rats, and he'd notice how they reacted. You know what I mean? And alpha, like, what happened?
It was was that the cocaine experiment where he couldn't get free rats to get hooked on drugs? It's only the ones in these bizarre maze cages that would do the cocaine.
Really? I didn't know that one.
Yeah, like city life is conducive to the addictions in a plethora. For experimental purposes, they narrowed it down to cocaine specifically. But to be addicted and have a maze, like all these pills are for ADD, and we want you to focus, and not focus is kind of the opposite of spirituality. You got to kind of let go and be open instead of singled in. Like I always say, when in doubt, zoom out. But yeah, there's a certain circuitry to urbanization that is very maze-like and kind of a manifestation of different forms of addiction.
Yeah, I think, yeah, like, I mean, that's really the problem with our society right now is that the and you know what got me? I saw somebody make a comment. She's like, or you know, some Facebook something, I think, and it was like somebody was like, you know, like it was basically like someone ranting like, you know, fuck you if you think that we don't need gun control and you think it's a mental health issue. That's just downright and she was going off about it. I was just, but you know, and it's so outside of my own like group of people and my, you know what I mean, like, the way that I think, because I happen to, like, you know, I've heard that said, is the idea that,
yeah,
you know, we don't have a gun problem, we have a mental health problem, and da 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 da. And so this person was directly reacting to that sentiment, and I was just like, oh god, this is like,
that just opened up a whole realm of meme thought for me to put the gun control mental health debate in other settings, like Aboriginal people in a hunting pack, each with a spear, you know, and one wacko's all talking about like spear control or whatever. It's like, we don't have a spear problem, we have a fucking, you know, or what would be another good one? Like, oh, like 300, you know, the Athens, Greece or some shit. Have all these fucking elite soldiers we don't have a sword problem. We have a
yeah, man, I like
yeah.
that.
It is a bizarre debate.
You know, we don't have a spear problem. We have a hunger problem.
Right.
You know. Yeah, man, that's funny. Like, you know, and he's like wearing a shirt that says "Get soy," like, you know what I mean, like, or something. That shit's so funny.
Oh, I mean, I lost my shit when the this last alleged shooter was seen with a Trump hat on.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's a Make America Great Again. I don't think it says specifically Trump.
Right, the MAGA or something, right? Yeah, I kept every time I saw MAGA, I thought they were fucking, you know, that what's that, the, like, you know, the Men Against Women or whatever. Who are they?
Yeah, they're male.
Oh, MGTOW.
Yeah, there you go, MGTOW.
MGTOW, yeah, something like that. Like the yeah. So whenever I saw MAGA for a while, I always thought it was MGTOW. Think about that odd mimetic kind of symbiosis.
Yeah, they do those. Obama and Osama, they both had their run at the same time, and those are very confusing names. Like, they would, all kinds of newscasters slipped up, and I think that was kind of done as a mimetic little fucking inside joke as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. Man.
Yeah, not to mention they look alike, which was unfortunate as well.
I never. Well, I guess maybe I could see that if somebody would have. I never saw that, but I didn't try to, like, you know. I mean, I don't know. It's such a weird thing. I guess every little thing you could look at and go down the rabbit hole on. That's where I've kind of realized it's like in a world that, like, has all these rabbit holes for you. It's like when you recognize that some of them are just meant to keep you busy.
No, for sure. Monty Python's the Holy Grail. I mean, the point of the whole fucking parable is to get you running around in the field naked. I mean, you know, there was no Holy Grail, dumbass. We needed you to look for one for a little bit. Snipe hunting. Snipe hunting is a thing around here.
What was it?
Have you ever heard of snipe hunting?
No.
I mean, yeah, it's a stupid old-timey practical joke where you get somebody to stand out in the woods all night with, like, some bizarre outfit on and a burlap sack. You know, making one specific noise, thinking he's snipe hunting. Like, I've never heard of a snipe. You're like, you've never heard of a snipe?
It goes like this. You got to do the call, and you got to walk around. You got to walk around like this. And you go, oh, yeah.
Like with a burlap sack and one shoe undone. You're like, what's that cat doing?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
He's sniping.
Oh, that's so funny. And you got to go get him to get, like, bait.
Yeah. You got to put cheddar cheese on your left shoulder, and have a pocket full of peanut butter.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, you gotta have peanut butter in one hand, and like and like like you gotta and petroleum, in the other, So you got peanut butter and petroleum. That's how you're gonna catch them.
Yeah, and if you can stand on your head and gargle peanut butter, you increase your odds of catching one.
Yeah,
you need your breath to smell like it.
Yeah. You gotta eat 2 onions before you go out.
But yeah,
so
snipe
funny.
hunting, it's a real thing.
That's so great. I'm so glad the tradition's alive.
Or that people have been doing that to each other, pre-technology and fucking cable TV.
Oh, wait a minute. What's up? Are we not getting... Hold on, let's see here. Okay, yeah, we are. All right, good. I don't know. I Spy was saying nobody was talking, but when was that? Like an hour ago? No, 2 minutes ago.
For some reason, and I know YouTube, whatever, but I noticed the first live stream when you're testing is actually above this one in the list. If somebody clicks on it, they are going to hear all the mic testing, etc. from earlier tonight.
Did I take off? I thought I took out. May have gotten everything. Can you have a look again? Because it should be Ghost.
Yeah, let me check. I like to run as little shit as possible when I'm actually speaking to spare the listeners any buffering. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. The one from 44 minutes ago is above the one that says live, which is weird.
Huh, it's still there, you saying?
Yeah, the other one is. This one's there too. It just usually it lists the live one first and the one posted after that.
Yeah. That's the, what do you call it? Okay, that's interesting that it's still up though.
Yeah, same thumbnail, same title. One has an hour 134 and one says live, but I bet Candy clicked on the top one because that's usually the one that's going on. But
right. Let's see here. Edit. Everything should be on private, but I may not have put that one on private. I don't know. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to get this figured out. Also, because I mean, like, if I were to go back over, let's say, I like the I wanted to learn about this, learn about how to do the OBS, and learn how to fucking, have a little scene going on. I got to learn a couple more things, but it seems like seems pretty dope actually, once you get the hang of it. But it takes a second. It was like fucking real complicated. It's like sailing or something. You know what I mean? You're like, it's not just going on the water with a boat, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like there's like how tacking and all the rest of that crap. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? I thought I was just on a boat. Yeah.
I also see if you can turn your volume up a smidge more again. It's better, but still quieter.
Check 1 2. Let me see. And there's not much I can do. I think I just talk like pretty low, because I got like the neighbor from hell who wants to like fucking. She like.
Yeah. Are you live streaming again?
Oh God, she's like.
Nah.
I think she was like practically like like she told my doorman that to like say something to me, and I was like, he's like, dude, he hit me up. He's like, yo, he's like, she looks sick, and I was like, oh yeah, that's what it was. All day I'm like smelling like something lovely coming through my vent. I'm like, this, you know what I mean? It smells all nice in my room, and I'm over here smoking and shit. And then like, he fucking calls and he's like, she can't breathe and shit like that. And I started realizing, I was like, she's praying, she's like dying from the Febreze she's spraying. Like she's spraying,
for sure.
like, so much Febreze to cover it up. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm getting like, I love it because it smells good. Like, it's just, I'm like, damn, sister, just fucking calm down.
No, well, and I wanted to say something about what we were talking about earlier. As far as people looking at whether these actors, the controllers, are these people twins? Oh, with Obama and Osama, are they the same people? Are they, cooked from the same batch? Are they clones from the same corporation? Whatever this phenomena is, have you noticed in real life doppelgangers of other people? Like, forget if Alex Jones and Bill Hicks are the same person.
Oh, for sure. I've met people.
You've met two disparate people. What if facial features and symmetry, etc., isn't not an infinite number. What if, like, that old thing, you get a room with like 50 people, at least 2 people will have the same birthday. If you get in a room of 100 people, 10 people will have the same birthday or whatever. I don't know if facial features are infinite. And also mannerisms. I've seen people who have like a similar list, a way they fucking, you know, roll their eyes. Like mannerisms even seem to be not infinite because accents and whatever. It seems that we may not be as big a family as they've let on. You know, there's plenty of conspiratards about how many people are on planet Earth. I don't think it's as many as they purport, but you know, what if we are still a small family? What if the Garden of Eden was only 10 generations ago? I mean, there's a whole lot to consider here. And you know, some famous people may look alike and not be clones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting. But I think there's also just that element of the blends of maybe the genetics. Like it's weird. I feel like, you know, we're animated, like, you know, in my, I don't know, in a base way. It's like our physical form is animated mud. Do you know?
Exactly.
It's like, you know, it's this. You know, it's like we've got the breath of life, and it's like, you know, when I've heard people say, like, you know, we are, like, you know, like, you're God, like God is inside of you. I always think, like, I don't know, because the Bible says that he breathed life into me, like, you know what I mean, with the Spirit. That doesn't mean that, like, if you breathe and you blow out of your mouth, like are you your breath?
Not entirely,
right? But you're an essence of it. You know what I mean? Like the breath is an essence of you, and that's why it's like made in the image of. Like I take umbrage with some of that philosophical idea. Hold on one second, I'll be right back. Forgive me. Yeah, forgive me. Cool. But yeah, that's like that kind of stuff, I guess. I don't know. Man.
It is another thought experiment I like with animation and carnation. If you take a skeleton, anatomical, with muscles and tendons and organs and skin, etc., and how we even balance is not necessarily scientifically explainable with all of the because the way we build stuff and manufacture things, there's a lot of right angles and symmetry. You know, the bones in the feet are neither you know, square or flat. There's a whole thing to even how we are animated that has way more, like, you know, our hearts beat and we do breathe, but what's that got to do with my knee joint? You know what I mean? How does that? It's not just synapses and you know, gray matter in your cerebral cortexes. The range of motion we have in our separate limbs. There's a Fibonacci spiral kind of Mandelbrot set equation to the way people move. That's kind of fascinating. If you've ever seen like slow motion video of a horse or a dog run really fast, or a cheetah.
No, I haven't, but I think I have. I mean, I've seen slow motion of a horse, but right? Go on.
Yeah. If you do that with people, the way we walk, it's very, because, you know, the bipedal nature, we're never standing directly erect and on 2 feet. You know, the limbo, for example. How do motherfuckers not fall over? You know, watch some of these Olympic cats do some of this crazy shit. How do you do a McFlip, really? You know what I mean? That's not just, you know, muscle memory and, you know, an operable hinge with some fucking what is that animation anyway is super bizarre. That's beyond soul, even or mind to me, because our brains do. I mean, I can tell the difference between thinking and doing a backflip off of a diving board. That's a whole nother. There's an animation machine that's kind of left out of the mind-body equation, even the spiritual equation, because it's not. I don't know. Have you ever seen those roller pigeons that just for some reason decide to start tumbling and doing somersaults and shit? It's awkward. It's not aerodynamic. There's no reason they shouldn't fucking fall on their necks when they do it, but they just there's something to the animation of all of this, that whatever that breath is the creator breathed into that mud is breath is an understatement. How the fuck is all this happening?
Right, well, that's what I look at it like. That's the profoundness of the breath of God. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing where it's like it takes it to the, the other realm of where, like, that's why I find it adolescent when people say, like, God is inside me. Like, because it's like, I mean, I understand the sentiment. Like, I love the idea, and I used to always love the, there's that, that, like, you're a, like, the part and parcel of. Have you ever read, what's his name? God, I can't think of the writer. But it's where I came up with, like, it's like the part and parcel of God. This idea of being like the drop in the ocean. All those contemplative ideas. But, and I can get when people say that stuff, because I think that's what they mean. But I just don't see it as, like, that we are the divinity that they talk of. Like, there's, like, a distinction for me. As I guess maybe just as you get older, you develop it, but...
Yeah. The Most High is ineffable. I mean, we can't...
Right,
it's like...
Right. You can't offend God. You can't offend God.
Yeah. Or ever expect a dog to solve an algorithm, I mean, there's just some shit we're not going to get. There's stuff going on in the ocean. Like, if you went and told some deep sea, like when whatever they were doing in the Gulf of Mexico before, during, and after the BP oil spill or not spill, depending on where you look at it, they got video of some critters that everybody's like, what the fuck is that? And, like, people were like, I don't know. I mean, nobody's 2 miles underwater all the fucking time to see all this shit. Explain to that crab, the subway system of New York. It's like, what the fuck? There's fuck Neil deGrasse Tyson and string theory, man. There's alternate universes happening right now. If you got a good enough submarine and camera, you could go film some shit that ain't nobody seen or thought of ever.
Yeah, it's so crazy, like, to think that we're, like, trying to go to space and we haven't even been to the bottom of the ocean.
Hell no. I tell people the ocean floor is a psyop, bro. This may be levels of water we can't even comprehend. Because if you Google underwater lake, if you Google underwater river, if you Google underwater ocean, there are bodies of water underwater everywhere. And nobody talks about it. Like, what's under this fucking water, under this water? They're like, I don't know, our submarine will go through it. That's not worth exploring, Elon. 2 miles from here, there's a body of water a submarine won't penetrate. We don't want to go look at that first before you launch some space trash into fake space at fake Mars. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, it is crazy. And then you have, like the abyssal plains to investigate. Like, there's so much to investigate.
Yeah. The hidden continents idea. This doesn't have to be an infinite plane. For, like, 2 more continents to very possibly exist, that, it's just a motherfucker to get to. I don't know what else to tell you. You know what I mean? Reptilians, Jews, and Freemasons be damned. It's just really fucking tough to get there. I don't know what to tell you. It's not a globe, but try if you want. You need some ships we ain't invented yet. But there is something over there. You're right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, shout out. Welcome, White Dove. Yeah. Or whatever. What's up, cats, if you're in there? And if this is I like this. Yeah. This is like a nice, fresh little spot to start up and just talk. And
the ocean floor is a psyop. Tell all your friends.
Ocean floor, yeah. The ocean's fake.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
No, the ocean floor is fake. This may be a fucking series, because I'm pretty sure space is some kind of liquid. That's where I disagree with the dome Earth God terrarium concept. This fucking idea that you can't get out of here is insane. That's kind of true, because, like, you know, most of these underwater sea creatures wouldn't live very well in Denver, you know, a mile above sea level. Yeah, space is another form of liquid if you honestly want to think about it. And like that ocean under the ocean, the submarine can't get through. It's not a firm firmament. It's a squishy firmament, and you could get into outer space, just not with a rocket. It's like square peg round hole type deal, which is probably, to my reckoning, why Hitler and the Thule Society and the Vril Society were all interested in these quote unquote flying saucers, anti-gravitic, electrogravitic, whatever you want to call these other airships that people have seen. I don't think they're from other planets, but I think they're trying to get into that liquid somehow, because they're realizing that you can't fuck your way into it. You're going to have to, you know what I mean? They have this phallic approach to everything. Just get a big long rod and smash it. You know, bullets, rockets, syringes, obelisks. like they make everything a dick shape because they want to fuck everything. I think to get into outer space, you're going to have to stop fucking and maybe just listen or talk. It'll be a resonance of some kind. But a lot of these alternative methods of flight, I think, once they realized they couldn't blast through it with dynamite, you know, they started working on the electrogravitic shit. That's why you see a lot of flying saucers, quote unquote, fly into the ocean. You know.
Well, don't bees fly a particular way? Bees
Yeah.
and like beetles, right? Do you know much about that? Like, maybe you could even explain it in depth.
Yeah. The electric universe theory, once you get it down past the luminaries, that everything runs off of atmospheric electricity, or the dance that the sun and moon do, give off this wash of ions and particles that charge everything, including the tides, including photosynthesis, including breath, oxygen. I think the micro world is misrepresented a lot, like the universe world is misrepresented, and that the exchange our lungs do with what we call air isn't about oxygen particles. It's about atmospheric electricity that we're charging ourselves, because you can measure brain waves and piezoelectric qualities of the very animation we were talking about earlier. That comes from breathing the air. The electricity that's in the air powers us. The same thing with plants. We photosynthesize. You know, we're breathing sunlight in the form of electricity. And by sunlight, I mean the wash that is given off by the dance the sun and the moon do, whatever they are. That's how trees grow and people breathe and fish move. You can also capture it with skyscrapers and power cities. This bumblebees, everybody I think that I've talked to has heard, you know, it's aerodynamically impossible for a bee to fly. Their body's too round and their wings are too small. It's because they're not flying. Their wings are charging up an electrostatic charge with which they are basically tiny anti-gravity machines. I mean, they supercharge their exterior with ions and they're able to float effortlessly. Spider webs, if you watch a spider web catch a fly or a flying insect of some sort, spider webs catch atmospheric electricity. They stun the insect so the spider can get over there. When a bee stings you, the size of a bee stinger is so much smaller than a hypodermic needle, but it is a trillion times more painful because they're discharging that same electricity. Bee venom is only a conduit with which they can send a high voltage rapid charge through. It's why a lot of bees die. They give all their chi into stunning you. It's a bee sting. They're giving off electricity. A lot of those big, heavy, tank-looking, flappy, like a June bug, or these beetles do the same thing. And people have even taken freshly dead-ish of those beetles that still have that charge, put it on the bottom of a board, and it's, for lack of a better words, a hoverboard, because they still have that electrostatic charge. But yeah, that's how everything's animated, and why free energy isn't like some future concept. Breathe in and breathe out. You just did it. Every baby that's born takes the first breath. Every person that dies breathes that exhale out. It's the same breath over and over and over. In when you're born, out when you're done. Everything else is the animation, or the electro animation.
Yeah, it's such a trip to think, like it's all like floating on this ether.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it is cool, man. I'd like to hear
and hopeful.
I tell you, man, I like hearing you speak on it. If you don't, speak some more on the electric universe, man. I'm digging
it. The sun and moon don't work with, and listen, I by all means am willing to say with any new information that all of this needs to be studied. I don't have like some ultimate answer, but you can notice how things work, like the fact that the higher you get, the colder it gets. If the sun were that far above us, you would only get warmer to it. Plants don't grow by fire. Plants grow by electricity. Like, you can have indoor plants that never see the sun still grow, but you can't put, like plants in front of your fireplace. That light won't help them. There's a piece that's electric that's required. And so the sun, first of all, is electric. That one's pretty easy to decipher, that it's not an explosion or, a consumption of fucking oxygen or whatever. Much like a microwave can heat up a glass of water, but the paper towel the glass of water sitting on doesn't, catch on fire. The sun is a form of energy that, in correlation with the moon, give off this electrostatic wash, that basically powers everything. The brilliance of the heliocentric model and the whole moon tide thing, they're kind of right. If you can think about, just like the draft of air off of a car, like a semi truck next to you on the highway is giving off this wash of air. As the sun and moon dance in the sky, they're doing kind of a similar thing. And that wash is hitting the fucking large bodies of water we call ocean. The tides are caused by the moon, kinda, but it's the sun and moon dance of these very energized whatever orbs of something flying across the sky. Whether it's 30 miles or 3,000 is probably insignificant. It's definitely not 93 million miles away. But that positive, and a good electrician will say charged and not charged instead of positive or negative, because even the culture creators try, like the scientism in electricity. If you're an engineer or an electrician, these types of people, they teach them positive and negative. One's good and one's bad, but electricity works as charged or not charged. Because you need the both. It's a push and pull system, and it's syncopated also, which is why like a taser has an uneven rhythm to its crackling, or a light bulb. Electricity is syncopated, and the sun and the moon are syncopated. We see that all the time with the phases, and the eclipses are, I guess you could predict them, but the prediction isn't a constant. Like this last solar cycle. Here's a fascinating tie-in to the electric universe and psyops. The last St. Valentine's Day massacre was in 1929 in Chicago. The first mass shooting in America with machine guns, even. Those fucking Tommy guns. We don't have a Tommy gun problem. We have a bathtub gin problem. You know what I'm saying? It's same shit, different day.
You are rolling right now. Hit it. Yeah. Keep going, brother. Yeah, man.
The last St. Valentine's Day massacre was in Chicago 89 years ago, and these solar maximums and minimums run on the solar cycle. So this Valentine's Day was the first The month of February is about menstruation. The first few weeks are about animal sacrifice. The last few weeks are about human sacrifice. The whole thing's about giving blood as an offering to the what's going to be birthed this spring and grow anew. It's Roman pantheology. It's Greek, historiography. It's this play they run over and over. But St. Valentine's Day is like the Ides of March, and it's about blood. It is correlated with solar cycles because there is this bizarre energy given off when this syncopation happens. Since the eclipse in August until now, I watch the sun and moon. I'm outside all day, every day, first thing in the morning, way late at night. I'm checking on these two because I don't trust them fully yet. I've been alive for 40 years, and the sun and moon may be against us. I haven't ruled that out yet. But I'm watching these motherfuckers all the time. And since this last eclipse in August, the syncopation is one beat off or forward or something. And I'm watching the sun and moon, and these guys are doing something crazy. But where I am locally, it went from like 20 degrees to 60 degrees, back down to 20 degrees on the day they did this blood ritual sacrifice to the spike in sun energy, which I saw, felt, heard about. It was planned out. The last one was 89 years ago. These things do work cyclically, but the cycle isn't perfect. That's where, like Jaron, when he does his curvature math, that's another thing even the ballers won't admit. They try and cover it with the oblate spheroid horseshit, but nothing's a perfect circle. That's why we're dealing with pi has a never-ending decimal string. Like, circles are never perfect. 0 is the absence of number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are the only actual numbers. 0 is something else. It's not quantifiable or unquantifiable, but the fucking sun is. And once you see these cycles and learn about them, it's crazy because you see it everywhere. Apparently, these Luciferian Freemasonic Jew scumbags know something because they pull off this mass shooting when this energy is high. People are hyped. Talk about breathing life into something, man. They know when you study the electric universe, how the syncopation works. My guesstimation is you could use that same magical property to our advantage. And instead of a St. Valentine's Day massacre, we come up with some opposite version of that we practice and ritualize and understand. I made the joke that beware the year 2107 if these cats are still in power. I called it now. That's 89 years from now. I'm the first one to say it, but yeah, just learn how the cycles work and what they're doing and what Valentine's Day is and who St. Valentine was and why there's a massacre associated with it. The word February is about menstruation. If you look at how the sun and moon system work, if you had to quantify it, 13 months of 28 days is 364 days with a syncopated day out of time cycle. But that's how the ancients ran stuff before the calendar and this 12-month horse shit with the sun and moon. But this February, which they've always kept at 28 days, they monkeyed with 30, 31, and sometimes 29. But there's a 28-day cycle that's sacred to them, and the word February has to do with a menstruation party they used to throw way back whenever. And if you learn that cycle, it's repeating, whether it's females of the animal world or the humankind or the moon. This electricity runs at a certain rate, and I've probably gotten way off course to the whole topic, but yeah, the sun and the moon are
I'm enjoying it, man. Really, actually, I'm loving hearing it. So please continue, man.
Well, fuck, where else would I take it? Eric Dollard, if anybody wants a resource.
What's the critique on Dollard, really? Because I've heard like a lot of people don't like. I actually thought he was interesting in his story. If people don't, maybe you can elaborate on his story even, because there is a critique on him. But cover the critique as well if you don't mind. So yeah,
he's a mad scientist. I put him like in the Tesla or Martin Luther King world because he was just so smart and unfortunately not incorrect about his take, and he was diverting from in a serious manner the real observable fact that the sun is not a nuclear explosion 93 million miles away. We just need to stop with that horse shit and look at the electrical component of all this. And of course, you know, you're castigated instantly if you speak against a system that's, you know, hell bent on everything being a phallus or an explosion, which, you know, we can talk about another time. But Eric Dollard did come from the world of heliocentrism. He is, to the last I checked, a heliocentric, but he does make a very good case for the sun and how it's electric and not a nuclear explosion. But the critique is, I've always said genius and insanity are next door neighbors. Like, you know, really world-changing ideas aren't going to come from, like, you know, some marketing executive that's, you know, got a master's degree in how to fool people. Like, it takes a little bit of crazy to come up with some good shit. Whether it's Tesla or Einstein, if you like that guy, or Eric Dollard. So the downside is he's a little nutty, has lived, you know, in his car for whatever reason. He's got his side, other people have others, but yeah, his downsides are he's crazy and sometimes homeless and frowned upon for not being mainstream, or a flat earther, which a lot of the flat earth proponents do use his work because he's right about what the sun is and how it's a transducer and it's not giving off heat and it's not giving off fire. But if anybody wants to hear somebody cogent who spent his life on it, Eric Dollard, Dollard. Yeah, go listen to all his shit and expect to hear some brilliant stuff from a crazy homeless guy, essentially, who knows what he's talking about, unfortunately.
Yeah, like I've watched some of his stuff about Dollard and or, you know, with his videos and lectures, and he tells some of his stories that are pretty wild. But you know, what gets me, I find sometimes, unfortunately, is like where it's like, you know, you get like a mad scientist that's got his place set up, and it's like, you know, or I don't know, like I know he got attacked or something. He got one of his studios taken down or something, if I'm not mistaken, right? Maybe, you know, like I know he had some attack or allegedly, like, you know, lost, like, this was Caltech or something, maybe, and one of the colleges.
Yeah, whether it's sabotage and all of these
explain,
topics.
like, you know, maybe take an example, and I don't know if you know any of his examples of that sabotage, and maybe you could.
No, not too much in detail, because he came later in my line of research, and I always take a good, healthy dose of not going where it doesn't matter. Like, my interest was the sun,
yeah, the information,
and how it's electrical, and not who's after him or who's not after him.
Yeah, well,
because
no, I know, like, sometimes, like, if I'm listening, yeah, and I guess that's fair enough, because, like, sometimes if I'm listening to somebody a lot, like, then I'll know what happened. Do you know what I mean? Like, because you just listen to him if you heard the story or something. But
yeah.
I know.
I don't know.
He did some lecture where I did hear him bring it up, and it was, you know, it was just interesting because I guess they had, like, destroyed some of his equipment, or, you know, some vandals had done it, and he felt as though it was in a, you know, very, like, kind of like it was not something genuine. It was more like an attack against him and in science or something. And then they, like, I think it was, I think it may have been Parsons even, or someone came and took over his lab or something. And so there's some interesting stories there. I don't know what exactly, you know, what it all is, or if it's just hearsay. It's just hearsay.
I don't either. I can only speculate that alternative fuels are a big no-no. Like, Alex Jones wouldn't talk about Judy Wood or UFOs, not because he's scared of aliens or space weapons, because both of those lead you straight into the world of free energy. That's one of the big no-nos. And so guys like Tesla and Eric Dollard, who have figured out that everything fucking runs on free energy if you can just figure out how to, you know, piggyback it. Elon Musk's Hyperloop, they're the first subway patent put out in like 18 whatever in New York was for a pneumatic tube system. That's essentially, there's free energy, and then there's over unity devices. A good way to think about it, the Hoover Dam is an over unity device. It took a lot of effort and energy and money and capital to build it. But since then, it's been giving off electricity for essentially free and a few repairs here and there. So it's not a free energy device. A tree is a free energy device, or a human's a free energy device. But these over unity devices are fucking everywhere, and those are big no-nos. Flying saucers, fucking cars, whatever. Those are the topics that are unfortunately the big time no-nos. And if Eric Dollard's work or Marco Rodin's work led to an over unity device being very easy to reproduce yourself, your lab's going to get burned down, whether you're Tesla or fucking Eric Dollard. There are things that will get the quote unquote feds or whatever they are to come burn your shit down. I'm sure that's highly possible.
Yeah, I think all that comes into play too when you're doing more like trying to, like, this is where the conversation of the democracy and the republic kind of steps into me, because you have the idea that you have this private side of things, and then you have the public side of things. Like it's like, okay, so like in your house, it's the private side of things. As soon as you are within, like as soon as you go off your property, you're now entered into the public realm, but your house is in a public realm. Which, you know what I mean? Which isn't, so it's like, okay, so how do we, but then the public realm defends the republic of the right for you to have a private realm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this, like, and so when I think of, with technology like that, it's like one thing, let's say you got a thing that could convert your car so you used water to drive. It's like, if you got one of those, it's like, technically the smart thing would just shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just use your, and do that if you wanted. And like, granted, if I guess the problem becomes if you're going to go and register on like, like it has to be taken up and, registered a certain way. But, or to get an inspection or something like that. But even then, like, I don't know. I mean, and I don't want to try to address that. But what I mean is that, like, if you could do it, it's like it's almost better kept like, hey, chill. Don't like go like making a video on YouTube saying like I'll install it for $1,500. I'll, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Trying to like and then because then also check it out. Now you've entered into the world of using Federal Reserve notes, and now you're using a currency that is controlled and is only allowed to be used for certain commodities. And if something's listed as like controlled technology, like a controlled substance or something, you're in a fucking shit world of problems because you're using a Federal Reserve note in the public on a public, you're just like, it's a wrap. And people get upset about that and say it's not freedom. But it's like, no, like you have the right to shut the fuck up about it. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you have the right to do it, but you also have the right to just shut up about it.
Well, and all of these mad scientists, have written or spoken in one way or another on that about, holy fuck, are we ready for some free energy? I mean, because like the same set of real scientific principles that could give you a mode of transportation for free the rest of your life, you can make a damn fine weapon with it too and fuck up somebody's house on the other side of Earth or whatever. Are we ready for this shit? And in a sense, it's almost like, it's not like if you want to sell a free energy device that's like a sovereign citizen. These things are so in opposite that it's just almost retarded to say.
Yeah, no, let's clarify that.
Citizen.
Sovereign and citizen it's an oxymoron, that term.
Yeah. You're either one or either. Yeah, there's no such thing as a sovereign citizen. And selling a free energy device is kind of like that to me. Like, I'm going to invent this thing that's going to turn into a disaster or will never happen. And you're right. The guy that really figures it out shows his neighbor for free, and that dude shows his neighbor for free. You know what I mean? And once that 100th monkey is reached, there's no need for them to fucking sell it or make a law against it or whatever, because it's done and over with.
Yeah, that's why actually what's so interesting with like even like technology, like I just kind of feel like that with OBS at the moment, where I'm like, I finally like, it's like, oh, like I figured it out, and like it's like people, this is like something where it's like all free software. You know what I mean? It's like, here, just, it's like, it's such a interesting and cool thing that, like, you know, that kind of exists in a way, you know.
Yeah, when people bitch about web censorship, here's another one that's underway. Huge factions of people already making a secondary internet, because unfortunately Cat 5 cable and Cat 6 cable is real cheap, and you don't have to wait for some giant company to come to you. If you can buy enough cable to string to your neighbor's house, and then his job is to buy enough cable to string to his neighbor's house. There's places in Detroit that built their own internet because they were quote unquote too poor of a zip code for Charter or Google Fiber or, you know, Cox to come into town. So these people literally just wired their whole fucking shit up themselves, and fuck y'all, we'll do it, you know, without you. We could be doing all of this internet, you know, not only would the software be free, the connection would be free, but you got to build your end of it.
Right. Interesting.
And there's places where there's no other choice. They went ahead and did it. There's some big corporations that, like, one of the problems with, you know, YouTube competition is the price of bandwidth or servers to be able to hold billions of hours of HD video on file. You know what I mean? Right. That's why this blockchain or BitTorrent revolution is, because you only have to hold, if everybody held just a little bit, you know, you don't have to have server racks full of shit. We just need you to hold these 10 things and your neighbor to hold these 10 things. Then we can make our own YouTube. That's why all these blockchain technologies are fantastic, because we won't need central hosting hubs like YouTube and Google to host video and search engines. We can all do it if we help each other just a little bit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of that's what gets. I mean, it's everything. That right there, you know. It's like that. You know, but first, it's like you have to be allowed to think different.
Yep.
First, you have to be allowed to be, like, you know. This is why I really was kind of thinking of it like the real thing. Or I don't know. It's like, look, I feel like it's like reaching out to, like, Americans everywhere or something. It's like, or people, free thinkers everywhere. It's like the idea that, you know, hey, look, you may not agree with us, but the point is that the freedom is, you know, we're like, people are being attacked, like flat earthers, for instance, are getting attacked that are just having a different opinion. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and that's something like, you know, I almost feel like it, like a hashtag Me Too kind of thing. Like, that's the kind of, like, mimetic I was kind of thinking. Like, it's like, you know, it needs to, you know, there has to be, like, the tugging at the heartstrings of America over these issues.
Yep.
You know what I mean? To, like, get them to recognize that these things matter again. You know, and so that they're not that's the like that whole empowerment thing. That's why I kind of, you know, that whole self-governance, think and let think. Like, I love all those things, those sayings, and I love all the crew. You know, I miss everybody over there. Actually, how is everybody over there?
You know, hanging tough. This I have noticed kind of in all the rooms I poke my head into that you know, the shooting kind of did break us out of the Elon Musk flat versus round for a second. It was time for a good old-fashioned auto hoax on some just the bullshit we could all agree upon. Because I even had a coworker come up to me and he was like, you know, you talk about all this shit that's fake or whatever, and he goes, you know, I got kids in middle school at not so nice part of town, and he's like, I was thinking about how shitty it would be. He goes, so I'm watching this news footage, and he goes, all these cops are fucking giggling in the background. I went, wait a minute, what? You know, just that little duper's delight off to the side caught his eye. So yeah, everywhere I look, people have shut up, and whether you think it's an auto hoax or a false flag, everybody else knows something's up. So it's a bit of a respite from the norm in those argument circles, but everybody's doing good. Memes are still being generated. Bakes and ranch are still being put on everything. From here to Timbuktu.
Oh, no doubt. I like to hear that. Yeah, I was like, decided to chill for a sec. You know, just kind of step back. That's why I'd rather just have like a chill vibes, you know, than anything else.
Yeah. Argue when necessary.
Right.
Steel does sharpen steel, but every now and again you got to stop hammering and go cut some bamboo.
Yeah. Yeah, it is like I don't know. I just feel like I guess not that I don't know. I was like looking at it like I'm older. You know what I mean? I was like I'm just like looking at all the memes, all the everything, and I was like. You know, I felt a little certain way. I was like, not about the memes, but I love all the art. I love what's being done. I just needed to step away for a minute. It grow for the people I know. Need this medicine. An angry police sent like disease. Come after the weak and destruction increase as they work to fight our people sent upon creation. Smoke one for me, smoke one for me. Darling, I'm behind this prison wall. Smoke one for me, smoke one for me. Darling, I'm behind this prison wall. For planting a seed, cultivating thereafter me, for fighting for freedom, waiting to catch anyone who falls in their snare. Waking the sheep, kept cozy asleep, one by one, and each mystery explained in full, so you know exactly why the fight us on. So smoke one for me, smoke one for me. Darkly, I'm behind this prison wall. Darkly, I'm behind this prison wall. Some lick a tea, some smoke them dirty, some make us sad to see. All of your mysteries around us. So don't ever judge, show them the love. Know who you are from the Almighty above. You're one of the children that's sent to bring love from creation. You should smoke one for me. Increase as they work to fight our people sent upon creation. Smoke one for me. Forgive me, but I'm over here zoning out. Let's see, let's get over here. See what we got in our YouTube's up in here. Let's see. Cool. Yeah, I like this different channel. And I like the people that I met over here that subbed up. They're all really cool.
Where was that at? You said you were at recently?
Is it this one show is called like The Porch, and it was we were they had like a porch idol, they called it. So it was so awesome, and there was all these awesome people that were singing, and you know, they had different bunch of people that would just get on, sing a song, and then step out, and then the two what is his name, Ronnie and forget her name. Oh, goodness. I want to say Paul.
So it was like a virtual porch, or did you physically go somewhere?
No. They were in like, you know, it was so perfect for what Hangouts is, because it's like a contest where you don't have to leave anywhere. You can just sing and do your thing in your own house. Everyone gets to watch it, and then they voted, and they were just sitting in their car chilling. But I guess usually they're on the porch, and and there was just a bunch of awesome people that were involved. And we were busting chops. I was like, let me come. You know, I was like, I don't know. It was kind of, there was a lull in the, you know, whatever. And I was like, you know, they asked if somebody wanted to come on and play, or like if one of the other people that had come on wanted to play. And I was like, I'll come on. Shill was like, yeah, get Henry on there. And I ended up on there. And then played a couple songs and just met a bunch of awesome people. And then came back on the night of the finale and played. So it was cool.
Sweet. No, that's that kind of creativity that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, you know, having fun. You know, it's like I was so happy to learn about it. Actually, it's kind of on the hush though too. I'm not telling anyone over there. Kind of like, you know, I'm just going like, man. I like, you know, yeah, I like the people.
You don't need that street fight spilling over onto their block party.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it was awesome. Let's see here. Let's see what's up with actually, you know what? Oh yeah, Joe, check it. This is a friend of mine's band from Jersey. He's out there. There's a band called the Mighty Nothings. I'm gonna play one of their tracks real quick. I'm gonna be right back. Cool.
Please put your hands together for the Mighty Nothings.
Nothing to say, nothing to do, nothing for me, nothing for you, nothing. What did they want? What did they need? What did they know? What will it be? Nothing to say, nothing to do, nothing for me, nothing for you, nothing. What did they want? What did they need? What did we know? Who would it be? Nothing. Nothing for you, nothing for anybody. Nothing at all! Nothing to say, nothing, nothing to do, nothing for me, nothing for you. Everything's gone, everything's gone, everything's gone, everything's gone, everything.
Yeah. Friend of mine. I support him. Funny. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm so happy that I got this figured out and set up. Nice. Morgan, that's dope. Yeah, I gotta figure out how to put can you put GIFs in, like, just as a file for the yeah, I guess you could, right? You'd have to be able to.
Yeah. Everybody's settings are a little different, but
yeah, no, I'll figure it out.
A lot of times, a lot of programs want you to input. They can fall under the video category. So, like, if wherever you would upload a video, a GIF may show up there, not as a still in.
Okay, yeah. Let me see. Actually, I'm gonna try to see if I can figure that out. Whoops. I wonder. I think you gotta, like, because if you can, I've been learning, yo. I'm out here learning. You know what I mean?
Learn on.
Go on here learning stuff. You know what I'm saying? Keep on that learning. Yep. Alright. Yeah. Yeah, the porch is awesome. It's so weird. I'm like 8 minutes behind every comment, and I'm all behind everything. Yeah.
Is it music only, or do they do comedy and spoken word, anything else?
I think they just hang out and do whatever, and they were just like, we should do a contest. Did a contest. It was just like, they're just fucking awesome, actually. I think they might even be on right now. Actually, what time is it? Wow, it's almost 12. Damn. How long have we been on for? Oh, yeah, no, we've been hanging for a while, though. Yeah,
it has been a couple hours. If you got to rap shit, that's cool. That was a good stretch.
I'm chilling. I mean, I'm hanging, actually. I was kind of like, I gotta have these last couple days just chilling. So I've been pretty much trying to get out, figure out the OBS, and I'm pretty all good. I'm hanging, dude. But yeah, it looks like they went offline anyway. But I should have probably went in their chat and been like, hey, come by when everyone's get done. But because it's good. I'd like it if we had like some more, like a whole different group of people. Is really what I would like to like hang out with and cultivate. Just more other people that are, new to all these ideas or whatever it may be. Just have like a spot where we can come and, jump in, listen, and enjoy the talk of the day without, without any kind of like, problem. But I don't know why. I wanted to learn how to do the OBS. Like, even just having, the ability to get together up in here in the Discord, I'm happy for. So, but I did want to figure out the OBS and how to, unify everything and get it so that I could go live. And we can. So we are good to go. I just got to learn how to, maybe, I don't know if I'm going to do any more on the Mahalski, like the live hangouts and the debates and all that shit, because it's just retarded at this point. Like, well, like, it's like it jeopardizes too much in a certain way. You know what I mean, bro? It's like the risk outweighs the reward to me on that level. You know, just even like just the concept of it like makes me like, over this? Nah, I'm good.
Exactly. That's, you know, hasn't escaped me either how the proponents of not considering the possibility are so ardent for such a long period of time now.
Yeah.
You know, and some on both sides. There are definitely some stalwarts in the works.
Yeah, I think everyone's gonna have their hands full. Like I was kind of talking with Mo about it earlier today. It's like this idea of like I look at it like, you know, when you're in the ocean and like you're out a little bit, or like, you know, like you're in between, like you're right where the waves build up, and the wave is gonna crash to the shore, and like, you know, it's just beginning to get big. You know what I mean? And you're looking at it like, oh, it's looming over you, you know, and it's coming up, or it's just over the, like, but it's not like cresting, it's not folding in on you, but you have to like, you know, kind of go under the wave. You know, you dive under the wave so as you're not like to get messed with, you know, and you get free of the wave. It's like it wasn't a problem. That's how I feel with that whole thing. Is like I feel like I'm ducking the wave for the handfuls of shit that's going to be going, like, you know, through people's consciousness against one another and against all reason. Because if even like I looked at it like, if even like let's say you had a bunch of flat earthers that wanted to, or whatever, like they've lost sight of it's too nitpicky for me, and you can't win. You can't, like, that's just not the route to be able to really affect change. It's just going to create a shitstorm and a news story. Which, you know, I mean, I love.
No, for sure.
I love, you know what I mean? But I hope for the, like, you know, and I just hope it's not something that has made everyone to look, like, I don't want to play into the hands of this whole, the way it's set up, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather just, like, you know, not fuel the fire. And I'd rather,
let it burn out.
Right, I'd rather, like, or starve it. You know what I mean? Starve it of material. You know, just starve it. Just fucking, you know, that's how I think of it. Like, you know, it's taking away the oxygen from the flame by just not looking and not paying, you know, or not participating, rather. You know what I mean? It's a train wreck, so everyone's going to look. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, you know, and with a rational, it's like, you know, it's one thing, like, to go running in there, though. And, like, you know, it's like looking at it and, like, you know, seeing, like, something's about to explode. And somebody's running in to save somebody, and it's like, it's useless.
Yep.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna get there and just be one more statistic. That's on the fucking, you know what I mean? One more person that's got to go. Like, I don't know. That's how I see it right now. You know, I think there can be other means to do it, but I love all those cats over. You know, all the good people. I want to kind of get them over and get them over here. So it's like we could still have this conversation. It's not to do with that market. It's not to do with that, because it's a market, bro.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I'd rather just have, I don't know, I'm just so pleased that we can chill out over here and enjoy, you know, music and chill. You know, live people. Maybe, you know, I mean, this is like second day of me doing live streams on this channel. So, you know,
this Discord thing is pretty fucking handy for lots of shit. Now that it was funny, it took that battle to get, you know, apps like these up and really fully investigated to be utilized for awesome purposes like that, where we don't have to get suckered into the fucking YouTube trenches per se to elevate the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, it is like a shame too. Also, there's like that. Yeah, it's kind of wild to me. I started thinking like how they're gonna want us to beg for internet police. You know. Yeah.
And beg for, you know, metal detectors and fucking bulletproof backpacks. Yeah, the whole combat system is designed.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy too, in the practicality of life. How combat sports turned into from pugilism to, you know, a rear naked choke. or a fucking omoplata. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't have to overpower the fucking monster. That's what was so fascinating about those early UFCs. Hoist Gracie was like this. What, really? You know, slithering and taking a few punches and choking out the biggest, toughest fucking weirdos, you know, that would battle his ass.
Yeah.
And it kind of was like a metaphor for what was going to be needed in these kind of pugilistic round versus flat boxing matches. Somebody's going to have to, you know, take someone's back in this thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's
smoothly.
Well, I think like it's also about, you know, that idea that, like, you know, what it's like people didn't see the rear naked choke coming, and I think that in the same way it's the same thing with the idea of you know, almost like leaving YouTube, you know what I mean, or, you know, to that extent of like leaving you know, being more aware of your real environment, you know what I mean, and where you are really in life. Like a lot of people are creating like these alternative reality psychodrama worlds with people that are just, you know, that are only online or whatever, you know what I mean? Like they're, and it's like this, that we were talking about earlier about that hypernormalization, you know, where everything in your computer screen and everything is whatever is justifying everything that you do.
Yeah.
And so you feel like you're on the in, you're up to speed. You know what I mean? Now you know everything, you know, because everything on that you're looking at is telling you what it is. Or telling
yeah, that's
agreeing with you.
Yeah, that's how we got Snopes.
Yeah. Yeah, let me grab water real quick. Hold on one sec.
All right. I came from the community radio world when I first went public with, you know, questioning the stated reality, which is still a powerful tool. And I always recommend to people that, you know, are uber gung-ho about making a change or whatever. Community radio is a fantastic fucking tool. But I've always... Now, they will relegate conversations like these to very late at night or very early in the morning. You know, you're not going to get drive time, even at community radio, to talk about this kind of shit. But these kind of conversations have always been, you know, where I've put my energy. But yeah, there's a very community radio vibe about a lot of these hangouts that you don't have to get on your mainstream radio and argue Republican versus Democrat. We can talk Federal Reserve and fucking Koresh and 9/11, you know, after midnight or whatever.
That sounds like a fucking show.
Oh my God, Paragon Radio. They were 5-hour runs, dude. In our heyday, I mean, even if it would have to be a private conversation to fully explain it, but you want to talk about go find the others, man. Have a conversation. Like I don't ever pull any punches. I answer questions to my fullest. If I don't know an answer, I'll say I don't know. But man, you want to talk about go find the others. Say this kind of shit on FM radio. This baby was 100,000 watt blowtorch. I mean, we had in like you know, the radius of the signal, you know, 2 million people. Our ratings fluctuated wildly, but man, early on when 9/11 was still hot, I mean, we were literally the only on the FM dial anywhere you could go and just not hear Osama bin Laden did it. Regardless if we thought it was thermite, no planes. You know, the first conversation I ever had with Dr. Judy Wood was a 20-hour hangout. I shit you fucking not. You know, we would take fucking food and potty breaks, but that line wasn't disconnected for 20 hours because she had a whole lot of shit to say about 9/11. And, you know, not necessarily to people that would hear it, but we'd have Dr. Judy Wood conversations when Alex Jones wouldn't even have them. And you say that shit into the radio, you get the others coming down and knock. That's the other thing about community radio. You can knock on the fucking door, dude. Those suicide podcasts I make were always halftime. It was like the halftime show. It was a 5-hour slot. We talk for 2 hours, take calls, play a suicide, talk for 2 hours, take calls. Yeah, and motherfuckers would come down there, triggered or not, friend or foe. Dude, you can IRL some combos like this real quick.
Nice.
So, yeah, if anybody listening is near or has access to basically anything under the 91 range of the FM dial, all your high 80s, low 90s radio FM stations, taking a simple test. A lot of them have, professional equipment. They teach you how to use it, and you prove your trustworthiness and donate some time. You could go say crazy shit like this on FM radio and, reach locals like a motherfucker.
Yeah, that's what's up.
It was sad because, sorry, I don't have the YouTube stream on. Was there something else playing?
No, you're good. You were on.
Okay. I thought I heard something else coming on that I was talking over.
No, you're good.
Flat Earth, unfortunately, is straining that relationship. Which kills me, man, that we could discuss shape-shifting reptiles, but we can't talk about the fact that Earth may not be a globe. I mean, come on. We've hit every topic known to man. Why is this one so fucking triggering? But community radio is a left-leaning, Birkenstock-wearing, fucking crunchy crowd that don't go full conspiratard. So atheism plays heavily into that. What makes them nervous is the creation part that is so easily detectable.
Yeah, it's weird. They really look at it like Hubble said. It's like the horror of a fixed position.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that would just... Well, I guess it's like man has this somewhat... I guess I don't know. It's such a good fool's errand, in my opinion. And it's like we need them. Like, you can't forget. Like, it's like, think about how beneficial it is to, like, tell someone, like, just... go sniping, go snipe hunting. It's like, it's like, you need snipe hunting. You need to have, like, all right, bud, you're in dire need to go catch this thing, because you got to just be doing something. So we're going to, just keep your ass fucking busy. Like,
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's what's up. I might call it a wrap for the live show, but
yeah, that's cool. I gotta do a little bit of shit before I get to bed too, and it's teetering on getting late.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Who do we have in here? Actually, do we have Kat still in here? Or I don't know if you want to speak.
I don't
know.
know.
We're still live, but I might take it offline for a little bit. Maybe even play a couple songs, and then shut off the live stream. And be in the Discord. So,
all right, I'll mute my shit and be listening.
Yeah, cool. Hey, shout out to everybody listening. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Shout out to everyone in the chat. We got Go Find the Others, Morgan, Aaron, Katz, yeah, everyone out here. Aaron, yeah, I Spy, Word Up, Holiness, and yeah, I think if we keep it chill and keep it positive, I think we do more good. And, remember, it's about building things as opposed to breaking things. So.
Yep, and less debating and more finding of the others.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to, let's see. Play this one right here. All right, bless.
Later.
When you broadcast the truth is you piss everybody off. If you don't have my... Talk to me. many of you here today, I've learned some things. And I think these things need to be passed on to you. And I think you need to start examining yourself, your agenda, your mission. Who are you? What are you about? What do you believe about America? Is it true? Are you helping to divide us more? Are you helping to bring us together? Do you really understand what this country is all about? Now, I know this is going to make some of you angry. That's okay. I know that it's going to open some doors for some of you. I hope that it'll bring us all a little bit closer together.
And this is where we get the word fascist from, in fact. The word fascist comes from the word fasces, which is a Roman symbol coming out of the ancient past. So those are two profoundly occult symbols. And the very fact that there are three tiers there, that the representative is sitting 3 tiers high, has a lot to do with Freemasonry and the first 3 degrees of Freemasonry. And why I'm bothering to explain this is because this is the background of the symbolism, so that later when we find out how it permeates into the corporate world, we have to understand who would put it there. That symbolism is very much at the heart of things that are very close to us today, which is government, business, education, and advertising. And one of the most important of Freemasonic symbols is what we call the checkered floor, or the floor of the house. And you'll often hear that euphemism said by politicians when they say, would the speaker come to the floor of the house? That term is Masonic and has to do with the checkerboard. Here we see the same image on an apron.
somewhere's waiting on me, and they don't even know my name. I'm dying in a pool of blood, and no one knows my name. Looking into the...
Cried all night till there was nothing more. What use am I as a heap on the floor? Healing devotion, but it's just no good. Taking it hard, just like you knew I would. Oh, habits die hard when you got a sentimental heart. Piece of the puzzle, you're my missing part. Oh, what can you do with a sentimental heart? What can you do with a sentimental heart?
See, what happens when you broadcast the truth is you piss
Yeah, alright, darling. This is how we're gonna do it this evening. Cause I don't know if I'm gonna be alright. Right. It's gonna be alright, but I don't know about tonight. I don't know if I'll be alright without your love tonight. I don't think I'll be alright if I don't get your love tonight. Oh, without your love I'm driving round my town. All I do is just look around, go to the pub and have another drink, but all it ever does is make me think. Oh, I don't know if I'll be alright tonight. If I don't see you, it just might just break my life. Oh, darling, don't you understand? I've been for so long your man. Oh, if I don't see you tonight, I think I'll just take my time. Take my time. Don't know if I'll be alright if I don't get your love tonight.
Shining down, but I don't add up. 30-mile diameter going round the perimeter. Oxygen depletion is the altitude limiter. Shout out to FaZe. Shout out to Mr. Drobot. Shout out to OJ McBaggins! All hail Megatron!
Yeah, shout out to Shill Scanner. Forgive me, I had the volume low over there. I'm gonna play another one by Shill Scanner. Word up. Respect. Big up yourself. All free thinkers. Yeah. Shout out to Megatron.
Rich one, motherfuckers roll out. Keep your pics up so all the globies can see we're in a motherfucking cold prison, 30th degree. What the fuck is wrong with society? And why am I such an anomaly? Everybody lives in idiocracy. Force-fed these deceptive theories exploiting the innocent youth. Why do we believe these lies that are presented to us as truth? Pseudo-scientific nonsense. In endless universe of expanding bullshit, other worlds don't exist. We are trapped on this plane of existence. Flat disk, gamer wrist, checkerboard, connective sectors, 33 slices of the pipe, the vectors. Beehive colony, you collect the nectar. Earth's thrown down men, someone called a record. I can tell you about some things that are gonna blow your mind. Everything that you've been taught throughout your life's a lie. Indoctrinated to regret your perception just to believe a school lesson so you can pass to the next one. Brainwashed so you trust the authority. They want you to think you're the minority. Don't stoke the flame superiority. They'll come to see the FFA majority.